Hello students, today we are going to learn about sources of energy. All of us taking food for survival and for the growth, and vehicles like motorcycle, buses, truck and all require fuel for running, right? Even for cooking we require fuel. Do you know what is important which we get from the food or from the fuel? Yes, you are right. It is energy. Students will be able to understand about the various forms of energy and what is energy through this video, and they can easily identify the conventional energy and non-conventional energy. They can distinguish about the renewable sources, non-renewable sources, describe the various types of sources of energy like fuel, that is fossil fuels, then biomass, tidal energy, nuclear energy, solar energy, like that we'll see. Let us see in detail. Energy, it is very common word, frequently we are using in day-to-day life. Energy, which means what? Which is nothing but the ability which we are doing work. The energy we require for all types of activities we can say, right? Like within our body or with our body or with other bodies we can say that. See, when we say that a body has the energy, that means what? It can capable of doing some work. And look around us, a number of countless examples we can say where energy is used to do the work. For example, an engine we can say that used to do the fuel to move a car, right? And the heavy flow of water we can say it may be like break the banks of the river, right? Various forms of energy. In our daily life we use different kinds of energy, right? For example, we can say heat energy, light energy, mechanical energy, electrical energy, chemical energy and sound energy, like that we have. See, as per the requirement, one form of energy that can be converted into another form of energy by using specific types of that devices or maybe the process, right? The characteristics of a good source of fuel. What it should have? What are the mandatory for the characteristics of a good fuel? It should have a high energy output per unit mass, or we can say a volume, right? And it should be easily available, and it should be easily stored, and it should be transported easily, and it should be mainly economical, right? Now, what are all the sources of energy? There are two main sources of energy we can say that is conventional energy and non-conventional energy of sources. So the conventional sources of energy we can say that, or maybe from wood or water or fossil fuels, from that which we are getting like petroleum, natural gases, these and all we can say the conventional energy. And the non-conventional energy we can say that they are from the solar energy and wind energy, biomass and ocean energy, that is from the tidal energy, wave energy, like these types of energy we are getting from the ocean energy. And geothermal energy, these are all the energy we can say that non-conventional energy. Let us see in detail one by one. Conventional sources of energy. See, the sources of energy which have been used, we can say that since a long time of period, over a long time of period which we are using, that we can call it as conventional sources of energy. Like we can say that coal, petroleum, natural gas, that and all, right? We can say that and all considered as a conventional sources of energy. See, these sources are basically based on fossil fuels that have finite reserves in nature, so that it would extend in future. We can say that fossil fuels which are formed inside the earth from the remains or residue of plants and animals after millions of years, right? So fossil fuels are coal, petroleum, natural gases as we said, and this is a non-renewable source, right? Disadvantages of fossil fuels. Burning of fossil fuels releases gas and harmful particles which causes air pollution. So burning of fossil fuels releases acidic oxides of sulphur or maybe nitrogen, which causes acid rain. Acid rain which is harmful for the living organisms, and it affects soil and water, which causes the damages to the building and corrosion of metals. And burning of fossil fuels releases large amount of carbon dioxide gas, which may be increase the temperature. It's suppose the increasing of temperature which happen means what will happen? Right, global warming. Hydropower plants. In thermal power plant, the heat energy which is produced by burning fuels, that is burning fossil fuels like coal, petroleum or natural gas, which is used to heat the water and change it into the steam, which rotates the turbines of generators to produce the electricity. Let us see in detail a schematic view of a hydropower plant which you are seeing on the screen. We'll see how it is generating the hydroelectricity. For the production of hydroelectricity, the high-rise dams are constructed on the river to obstruct the flow of water. So thereby they can collect the water in large reservoirs. The water level raises in this process. The kinetic energy of flowing water gets transformed into the potential energy. The water from the high level in the dams is carried through the pipes to the turbine at the bottom of the dam. And when fast moving water which is coming from the dam falls on the blades of water turbine, then the kinetic energy of water which rotates the water turbine rapidly. When the water turbine rotates, the armature coil of a generated R rotates rapidly, and by this way it generates the electricity. Right. Now what are the advantages and the disadvantages of the hydropower plant? We'll see. The flowing water is a renewable source of energy. So this is the advantage for that. The electricity which is produces does not cause the pollution also. And water stored in dams that can be used to control the floods or for the irrigation. The disadvantages for the hydropower plant, initial cost is too high, right? And large areas of land which gets submerged, and the decomposition of the vegetations produces the methane gas, which is the greenhouse effect. And also the displacement of the people from the large areas of the land will cause the people habitation. Thermal power plant. See, the thermal power plant, which is in the principle of large amount of fossil fuels which are burnt in power stations. It helps to heat up the water to produce steam, which further runs the turbine to generate the electricity. The thermal power plant which is used to produce heat energy and which is converted into the electrical energy, right? The transmission of electricity is more efficient than the transporting the coal or maybe the petroleum over the same distance, so that maybe in many of the areas they are keeping the thermal power plant or set up near the coal or the oil fields. Biomass energy. The waste materials and dead parts of living things, we can call it as biomass. For example, we can say that wood and the animal dung, vegetable wastes, the agricultural waste, sewage, this and all, we can say that the biomass. So the biomass is decomposed by the anaerobic microorganisms to produce the biogas. See, biogas, which is nothing but it is the mixture of gases which are methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen sulphide, we can see. We'll see the detailed study of the schematic diagram we are seeing on the screen, the biogas plant. The biogas plant which has the dome-like structure which is built with brick, and a slurry of cow dung, and the water is made in the mixture tank from where it is fed into the digester. Actually the digester which is shield chamber, that is no oxygen which is it should be go inside, so that it is a sealed chamber. At the top of the dome there is a gas outlet pipe and the gas wall which is there. In the mixing tank, the anaerobic microorganisms that do not require oxygen, which is decomposed or it break down the complex compounds of the cow dung slurry. It takes few days to decomposition process, After the decomposition, the gases like methane, what we said, that carbon dioxide, hydrogen, these and all will get generated. These are the biogases, right? So the biogas which is stored in the gas that above the digester, which we can see that through the pipes we can use it. The advantages of using biomass as a source of energy. See, biomass is an inexhaustible energy source. Some of the advantages we can see that it is a very excellent fuel that contains up to 75% of the methane, and the biodiesel and other fuels which are produced by biomass are viable, and it's a clean source of energy. The biomass is easily available throughout the world, and the residue from the biomass which you are getting also we can use it for the manure, right? So what are the limitations, or we can say the disadvantages of the biomass as a source of energy? See, the biofuel, what we said, that's ethanol which is produced from the biomass. It is not as energy efficient, we can say that, as petrol. If the biomass is directly burnt, it may contribute to the global warming. It increases the emission, causing the environmental pollution. The main ingredient of biofuel, which is what we said, that is a methane. Right, so it is very harmful to the environment. The biomass is a relatively very expensive and source for generating the energy. Right. The next one is we can see that wind energy. See, wind energy is used in windmills, which converts the kinetic energy of the wind into the mechanical, or we can say the electrical energy. The kinetic energy of wind that can be used to do the mechanical work like lifting water from wells or grinding grains in flour mills, this and all we are using it, right, by rotating the turbines of generate to produce the electricity. A single windmill which produces only a small amount of electricity. So a large number of windmills in a large area are coupled together to produce more electricity in wind energy. So the advantages and disadvantages, we can see that it is a renewable source of energy and does not cause pollution, right? And the disadvantages, which means we can say that wind is not available at all times and it requires a large area of land, right? And we need the minimum of speed 15 kilometers per hour. It is not it's possible for all the time. And the wind energy farm, we said that in which way we are getting, right? When the blowing wind which strikes across the blades of the windmill, it exerts a force which rotates its blades. And the rotatory motion which is used to turn the turbines of the electric generator, which then generates the electricity. In that way only we are producing the electricity, right? Yes, students, now this is the time for the assessment. You may see some questions which are coming on the screen. You can pause the video and try all the questions. If you want to know more and more, you can see again the video and you can write as a test. Now, let us see the answers in detail. Let us see the answers one by one. Question number 1, which is list out some activities from your day-to-day life. Different forms of energy are involved, right? The answers: cooking of food, that is for the heat energy and the chemical energy which is involved. Lighting of bulbs, electrical energy and light energy which involved. And we can say that talking to each other, it's a sound energy, right? The second question: what are the 3 most common forms of energy that we use frequently? And we can say that heat energy, light energy and electricity. The third question: differentiate between the renewable and the non-renewable sources of energy. The answer: the energy sources that can be replenished in a short period of time, that we can call it as the renewable energy source, and the energy source that we are using up and cannot be generated in a short period of time, we can call it as that non-renewable energy source. So the next question is: name any one alternative source of energy which you would like to use in your home. Right, that we can say that obviously the solar energy, right? It is free and easy available in the area in which we live, right? It can be used for cooking, water heating, and all the purpose of the homemade we can use it, right? The next question: Biofuel is considered to be a good fuel, right? Why is it not being used on a mass scale to replace the fossil fuels in our country? We can say in a number of reasons, like biofuels is not as energy efficient as petrol. And also we can say that the main ingredient of the biofuel is what? Is a methane gas. It is harmful to the environment, right? And the biofuel is a relatively expensive source for generating the energy. So both in terms of producing the biomass and converting into the ethanol is cost-wise high, right? So far we have learned from this video, that is what is energy. The energy which is nothing but what? Capable of doing work. Various types of energy, sources of energy. Conventional energy we have studied, that is like fossil fuels, thermal plant, and maybe the hydro energy, biomass and wind energy. Thank you, students.